talk about the acceleration field. We saw what was the velocity field, that if you express the velocity of the fluid at each point as a function of time, you get what is the velocity field. Okay. Now we want to talk about what is acceleration. Now going back to your dynamics, if you have a particle, okay, dynamics, if you have a particle whose velocity is v, we would think that the rate of change of the velocity with respect to time would be the acceleration, right? This is for a single particle that's like, let's say, a rigid body. If some object, if I run at some velocity, the rate at which my velocity changes is my acceleration. Okay, this is for a single particle. Velocity at time 1, and then you have the same particle at a different velocity at time 2. Alright? Now consider this example that I am going to give you. Suppose you have a river, you take point 1, let's say you take point 1, the velocity vector is v1. Okay? You take point 2, the velocity vector is v2. Now if I just insert a velocity probe here and I measure the velocity at that point 1, just at that point, not worried about everything else. At that point, if I measure the velocity and it happens to be not changing with time, suppose this were steady, that is, the velocity is not changing with time, which implies the velocity at that point is independent of time. Okay, let's say there is some velocity. Okay, it's some velocity. You are observing the river from far. You see that the velocity at that point is not changing. If you focus your attention to another point 2, and at that point you insert your velocity probe, and you find that the velocity at point 2 is also steady but not the same as v1. Suppose v1 for some distance here. I'll draw this intentionally at a much lower distance to show that v2 is also steady but not same as 1. The same river is flowing, you are looking at 1 to 2, between 1 and 2 the velocity of the fluid changed. Okay, so at 1 its velocity is not changing, at 2 its velocity is not changing, but between 1 to 2 the velocity changes. Okay, keep that in mind. Let's say you think of another example like a nozzle. Here is the axis. Here is let's say section 1, where the velocity is v1. If you take the velocity at the exit, so this is the inlet, I'll call this exit as section 2. At the exit, I find that the velocity to be very high. Obviously a nozzle accelerates the flow. This is what you see when you operate nozzles to increase the flow velocity and get a jet on the other side. So v2 is obviously greater than v1. Okay, but if you monitor v1 with a velocity probe like before, you will find that neither v1, or let's assume that neither v1 nor v2 depend on time. They don't change with time, but they seem to change with distance. That is, when you go from 1 to 2, obviously something happened so that the velocity changed. Now my question for you is, what is the acceleration of the flow at point 2? What is the acceleration of the flow at point 2? That's my question for you. Now if you take the nozzle example, if you write the velocity at x1 is v1 and the velocity at x2 is v2, I can write the velocity or the change in velocity is v2 minus v1 and the change in distance is x2 minus x1. Okay. Now there is also a transit time for the fluid to go from 1 to 2. Okay. That is, if I ask what is the velocity change with respect to time, and this time is the time to go from 1 to 2. I'll write T2 minus T1. That is, the parcel of fluid here is here at T1, is here at T2. It is the transit time between 1 to 2. Okay, T1 and T2. So that would be V2 minus V1 divided by T2 minus T1. Right? All I am doing is calculating delta V over delta T. Right? Except I can write delta V over delta T to be V2 minus V1 divided by x2 minus x1 times x2 minus x1 divided by T2 minus T1. I am just multiplying divide by x2 minus x1, which is fine. Then if I look at this, this is the velocity dx over dt, or I'll write delta x over delta t. Okay, and this is delta v over delta x. So what I have here is the change in velocity over change in time can be related to the velocity gradient times the fluid velocity. Of course, I am just talking only in terms of one dimension, but it's easy to generalize it to 3 dimensions. So I can write the acceleration, which is the rate of change of velocity. That's the definition from dynamics. That is equal to the product of the velocity gradient times the fluid velocity. Okay, this is in a case where the flow is steady. That is, we didn't have any velocity changes with time at point 2. At point 2 or point 1, the velocity is steady. Now, generalizing this concept a little bit further, if I write acceleration of a flow is the rate of change of velocity with respect to time, where d over dt is the total derivative of the velocity, which is a function of x, y, z and t. Okay, so the total derivative would be, from calculus, this is dv partial v over partial t dt over dt plus partial v over partial x dx over dt plus partial v over partial y dy over dt plus partial v over partial z dz over dt. That is, the total derivative of velocity is the sum of 4 partial derivatives. The derivative with respect to time times the derivative of time with respect to time, x with respect to time, y with respect to time, and z with respect to time. be written as dv over dt. This is simply 1 plus partial v over partial x times the x component of velocity plus dv over dy times the y component of velocity plus dv over dz times the z component of velocity. Okay, this term here is the advective component of the acceleration. What you have here is, I showed you the nozzle. Because the cross section is changing, you are having the fluid move faster and faster as it goes through this nozzle. As it goes through this nozzle, the fluid is accelerated, not because of time, not because something is changing with respect to time, but because the fluid's position on velocity is changing with respect to space. This part is called advection, where you have the flow changing with respect to space, and this part is called the unsteady component, something changing with respect to time. So the verbal statement for this is the acceleration or the total acceleration of a flow can change due to unsteady effects and advective effects. Due to both these or one of these. Okay, it can due to unsteady and advective effects. Okay, so this acceleration, which is dv over dt, is the partial derivative with respect to time plus the sum of the individual components, which is partial v okay. Now you can think of it in two ways. One is, if you had a fluid particle, if you go to the Lagrangian point of view, this acceleration is the acceleration of a fluid particle. It's the acceleration that you will feel if you are also traveling with this particle of fluid. This part of the acceleration, where we split the terms, okay, this is the acceleration that happens due to change in position. This is the acceleration that you will feel if you just stay in one place and observe the velocity change at that place. Suppose you are you are just putting a probe here and you are trying to monitor the velocity as a function of time. Any changes in this graph will be directly related to the unsteady part. If you just took at the same time a measurement here and a measurement here at the same time, the acceleration that you calculate will be related to this. The total acceleration is the sum total of both the unsteady part and the advective part. Okay? So we will see this through problems, but what you need to take away is this whole term here. I'll write acceleration. This whole term is called the total acceleration. Total acceleration, which has an unsteady component and an advective component. Okay. Getting this acceleration is important for a variety of calculations that we do and also for deriving the Navier-Stokes equation. So understanding this is quite important.